A little something about Raymond. He's an investor in stocks and rentals. He wants no money from you, no bait and switch, nothing. Here's what he's going to do. He's going to log into his personal account, share real estate property documents, and give you suggestions on what to read.
All right, today is Monday, June 29th, and it's pretty late at night. Today I want to talk about my General Motors 401k, and it's in Fidelity, so let me log in. All right, as you guys might know, when I was employed, I worked at these two companies, GE. So I have a GE 401k, and I also worked here, General Motors. So I have a General Motors 401k. And I want to talk about my GM 401k. So this is how it looks when you first log in. If I only had a GM 401k, it'll populate the entire page, but since I have two, they kind of separated the page. So let's go here to General Motors. Click here for GM. And this video is just a high-level video to get you familiar to understand a Fidelity 401k. What I've learned is that my GM and GE 401k is like 99% the same. If I was to log into my GE 401k, you're going to see the same tabs. It's going to have the same numbers in the same spot, all that stuff. And I've talked to other people who work at companies that Fidelity is the custodian of their 401k, like AT&T and Verizon, and they actually showed me screenshots of how it looks when they log in, and it's just like this. So hopefully your 401k looks just like this if it's at Fidelity. And if it doesn't, I would like to know. I would like to know the name of the company. So here's my balance, almost 60 grand. I actually have a loan taken out, and I don't recommend you taking a loan out. That's like something you really don't want to do. You want to do almost anything else other than take a loan out. I took this loan out, and I think I can do something with this money that I can possibly make more than it being in the stock market at this time, because the stock market isn't doing too well this year. It's really choppy, especially with the pandemic going on. And of course, at any time, if I wanted to, I can pay all this back at one time, or I can pay it back monthly. Let's click here and look at year to date. I'm not doing well. I'm almost down 16%. That's terrible. If you scroll down, it's telling me the where I'm invested percentage-wise. So most of my money is in the conservative income fund. It's telling me how my money is breaking up in terms of asset class. So most of my investments are in domestic stocks. You have the other ones here. And again, if you scroll down, this was my balance at the beginning of the year. A whole bunch of other stuff, loan repayments. You can click on show more. Again, negative number here per this date, which matches the number here. I'm just going to talk about these tabs. I'm not going to click on them. I want to keep it really high level. But contributions, this tab is if you're still employed. So if I was still employed at General Motors and I wanted to change my contributions out of my paycheck, I would click on this tab and start clicking on stuff to increase or decrease how much money I want to take out my paycheck to go toward my 401k. Investments, I'm going to skip this tab because this is the tab I'm going to come back to and really break it down. Withdrawals and loans, you will come here if you wanted to make a withdrawal from your 401k, which I do not recommend because there are going to be a lot of penalties and interest to do that if you do it below your retirement age. You can also come here to take out a loan. Rollovers, if I wanted to roll over my GE 401k into my General Motors 401k, I can click here and do that. Bank tax information tab. At the end of the year, you're going to get tax information possibly that when you do your taxes, you're going to have to input that information or give it to your accountant when they do it. Plan information is, you click here, it's just going to be general information about the General Motors 401k plan. But here, investments, this is where I want to take you guys. So let's click here. And I'm invested in 6 different funds. And here's the asset class. So it's telling me what these funds are invested in. Top one, the income fund, bonds. Everything else, stocks. Category, this tells you what type of bonds, what type of stocks are in these funds. So this particular fund, S&P 500 index, these are all large cap companies. So think Google, think AT&T, think Microsoft. This fund, I'm invested in medium-sized companies. So maybe that might be like AutoZone or Kroger or something. This fund, I'm invested in real estate. These 2 funds are in stocks and they're foreign funds. So this would be companies like in Germany or England or Congo in Africa, maybe. Anything outside of the U.S. This fund, Diversified Emerging Markets, that's just a name that really means foreign. So they wanted to be fancy. They didn't want to use the word foreign, but these 2 are invested in foreign stocks outside the U.S. Here's the percent invested. So most of my money, 44%, is in the income fund. The balance here, more money is in the income fund, greater percentage here. So this is all my money, and again, it's adding up to $59,000. Cost basis. This is a beginner's class. You don't have to concentrate on this, but if you're curious, you can click here. And this, it says how to read the table and charts. It's going to give you the definitions of most of everything you see in terms of the headings of the columns. So cost basis, you can come here and read that. You do not have to be an expert on cost basis to do well in the stock market. Again, if you guys want to learn more, click on it. It's not necessary. Here, YTD, year to date. This is telling you from January 1st up until this date, which is 6/26, how you're doing. And you're never going to see this date match the actual date. So the day is actually the 29th, but Fidelity is always a couple of days behind. So they're going to give you up until the 26th. Today, if I log in 3 days from now, it'll be maybe a date 2 to 3 days from there. So again, just to summarize, just quickly, name of the funds are here. Asset class, are there bonds or stocks? What type of bonds or stocks are here under category? Invested amount, the percentage of each fund I'm in. Balance, how much money I have in each fund. Cost basis, don't worry about that for now. Year to date, how am I doing? I'm doing really bad. Everything is negative except for this number. And this is really small, 0.65%. And this is to the date that everything is valued to. So we got a couple of tabs we can click on. This is annualized returns. You're going to see a lot of the numbers are repeated. Um, same funds, same balance number. You see all this stuff. It's not important in terms of deciding what you want to do in the future. This is a tab I just don't go to. I don't use. Again, you have a question mark. It tells you the definition of it. But this is the tab that's good to go to. Cumulative returns. So again, comparing it to the basic overview tab, you see some of the same numbers. But the reason I like going in this tab, because this tab is the same as this tab. So you want to go and compare apples to apples. So if you want to look at all the investments, click on this tab. And when you look at your investments, click on this tab. So now you can make an educated decision of if you want to go from investment 1 to investment 2. So do we see anything new that I didn't discuss? Here's name of companies, asset class, we talked about that. Categories, we talked about that. Here's a new one, MTD, month to date. So we're in June. June is not over with, so this month can't be June because it's month to date, so it has to be May. So this is telling you how these funds operated for the month of May. Did they make a profit or did they lose? Most of these numbers are positive. Here's one that's negative. So last month, this fund didn't do well. It lost money. If it's positive, these funds made money last month. This, again, is year to date. How are the funds doing from January up until the 26th? Again, positive numbers are good, negative numbers are bad. I don't use these to influence how I want to invest, and the reason is look at the date. Returns as of 4:30. This is April. We're in June. Fidelity, this is just the way Fidelity is. You can't change this. You can call them on the phone, ask them why. They're going to say this is just the way the system is set up. And it's not even consistent. These are going up until 4:30. You go here, they're all over the map. 5:31, 4:30, 5:31, 4:30. So I don't let this column influence what I might want to do. But in terms of definition, it's telling you the month of May. Again, this is June, and June is not over with, so that's how I know it's the month of May. How did the fund do for May? Then how did the fund do for the last 3 months, with the ending month being May 30th? So just information here. If I go to the check mark, that's just indicating to me the funds that I'm invested in. So all these funds with a check mark are the funds that you see up here that I'm actually invested in. The other column that you want to go to here that's important would be fees. So in all 401ks, they charge you money to invest in whatever you want to, unless you come to your fees and you see a zero. Zero means there's no fee to invest in that particular fund. So in General Motors, there are no zeros. Anything I want to pick, I'm going to have to pay a fee. And if you can't find something that's zero, no fee, and you have to like it, just because it's no fee doesn't mean you want to invest in it, because maybe you don't think that's a good investment. But typically, the lower the number, the better. So you want as small as number as you can find to consider what you might want to invest in. And that's what I do. And the reason I do that is because if you invest in one of these funds for many, many years, the fees add up. So let me give you an example of something I'm invested in, and we can talk about the fees. So here's a check mark. I'm invested in this. This is a mid cap blend uh, fund. The fee is 0.023%. So that means uh, for every $1,000 I'm invested in, I'm going to have to pay $2.3. I'm sorry, 2.3 cent. So 2.3 cents for every $1,000 I'm invested in is the fee that they're going to charge me. And you can click on the question mark and it gives you a brief definition. Again, you can come back here, click on this. It'll give you a more in-depth definition. So let's see. Do they have it? Fees. I didn't see it. If you guys saw it, it's there, but I didn't see it. But let's go to Google, our best friend, and it gives you a definition. If you invested in a mutual fund with an expense ratio of 1%, you would pay $10 for every $1,000 invested. So this $10 that's an annual fee. Going back here, these are annual fees. So for again, going back to my example, 2.3 cents for every 1,000 per year. So that's not per day I'm paying or per month, it's per year. And just looking at this again, in summary, important columns. What's the name of what you want to invest in? You're going to look here. Here's the percentage. Here's how much money are in each investment. This is giving you the date, meaning this is how much profit or loss based up to this date. Here's the year-to-date column. This is important, and it's telling you the date that it's invested up to. So June 26th. So those are your important columns to click on. Fees, and you want to look at year-to-date, and you want to be under this tab. And when you look at all the investments, click on the same tab. All right, I'm going to do part 2, and part 2 is going to show you guys how to make investment changes to go from one investment to another investment. All right, let's do part 2.